Hello, I'm Lou Anton, sometimes known as Revzilla from BBE. That's www.bowlingballexchange.com, the friendliest bowling site on the internet. I'm here today to show you the KMT personal ball drilling jig. My friend Steve at KMT Pro Shops was kind enough to send me one and asked me to give it a try. What I'm going to do is show you the components and give you an idea how to use this. The KMT personal ball drilling jig is a system that consists of a heavy-duty metal base with a ball cup. You put the ball into it and it has these uprights and a clamp goes on top of it. It's concave on the top to hold the ball securely. And it screws in on both sides to clamp down. Now I have the ball securely clamped into the jig, and if you look, that weighs probably more than 25 pounds. It has rubber feet. It's not going anywhere and it's very securely held. So when it's time to drill the ball, you can be sure it's not going to move around in the jig. Now you'll notice also there are these plates, they're called pitch plates, that go on top and screw in. There are a couple that I got with the jig, and the point of this is that there is an angle built into this plate, and you can see that when I put the drill bit in. You see how it's at an angle and not straight up and down? Each jig has a predetermined amount of pitch built into it. The idea behind this is if I take the center line of the ball and put the jig aligned with it, if it's, for instance, a ½ inch of pitch, then I've got a ½ inch of pitch going this way. However, if I turn the ball so that the center line is at 45 degrees and clamp it back down and put this jig on, now relative to the center line of the ball, I've got a ½ inch that way and a ½ inch that way. Now it's not a linear relationship, but that's close to the idea of how it works. In fact, each pitch plate comes with instructions for every hole you would drill, and you can see that it shows at what angle which pitches you would get by adjusting the center line of the ball to match up to these markings on the top of the clamp. The KMT jig comes with a bevel tool that'll fit on your drill, and it comes with a couple of drills, and again you'll see this straight shank that goes into your pitch plate to produce a specific pitch. It also comes with this really cool Brunswick tool that will allow you to measure spans on your existing bowling balls and to measure distances and draw straight lines. Now in my case, I laid out my bowling ball using the dual angle method and a prosect. And so my layout looks like this. And you can see that it's a typical dual angle type layout. However, there are some lines that have been added to go parallel to the center line through the finger holes so that I can accurately line them up with the markings on the top clamp to get the pitches that I'm trying to achieve. Now I'm ready to line up the drill bit with the thumb hole at the proper pitches. From using the instructions that came with the jig, I found that I want my center line to go from there to there to give me the pitches that I need to achieve for my thumb hole. The next piece is I'm going to drill an 1.5 inch hole for this turbo switch grip. That's very important to me because this thumb hole was made for me by an extremely experienced professional pro shop. I can't duplicate it. Without their help, I can't really do a ball properly. That's one thing I'll have to take into account later on when I decide whether or not I want to visit them more often. And I think I will, because I think they deserve my money for all the attention they give me. Now, what I need to do is to line up this 1.5 inch bit so that the point is on the center line and the edge doesn't take this top of the thumb hole line. So I'm lining up the edge of the bit on the thumb hole line, putting the point on the center line, verifying it, and I'm going to make a little mark and do so with it. The reason for that is when I put the pitch plate on top of the jig, I can then move the ball until the drill bit drops down into that little divot. And as long as my lines are still aligned, I'll know I have my proper pitches and that I won't take out too much of this line that defines where my thumb goes. Now I'm going to set the pitch on my drill bit and align it with the little dimple I made in the bowling ball to make sure that it cuts in the right position for my thumb hole. First, I am lining up my pitch plate with the arrow pointing in the direction that the instructions state, and I need to put the drill bit in, place the pitch plate on top of the jig, and put these two screws in to hold the pitch plate securely. Don't need to over tighten, I just need to hold it in place. And what I should be able to do is keep these lines aligned where I need them for the proper pitch and move the ball along that line until it drops into the dimple that I made earlier. And there it is. Now I'm ready to go. I'm ready to drill in that location. I'm going to verify that my lines are exactly where I want them, and I see that they need a little twist. I'll re-verify my dimple. And now I'm going to lock the jig down tight, and I'm going to get the drill, get it on here, and start drilling this bowling ball. Okay, I'm getting ready to drill that thumb hole. You see that I've placed the jig onto the floor because the card table I was demonstrating on really isn't sturdy enough to do this. Also, you'll note that I have a little spacer here that Steve from KMT provided to make sure that I drill the proper depth for a switch grip. Also, if you look here, you'll see that there's a ledge where the drill attaches to the drill bit. This ensures that the drill is always in the same position, and with this spacer you can be confident that you're going to get the right depth of hole for your switch grip. Now I'm going to drill the ball, and I have to make sure that I don't try to push straight up and down because there's an angle built into this. So I'm going to try to push at the angle that's built in. This is going to get a little noisy, so we'll show you just the beginning of starting to drill and cut the film at that point. Here we go. You can see that I'm drilling a little and then coming up to let the pieces out. I'll be turning on my shop vac too. Don't need to film that. You don't need all that noise.